Alright, so I'm actually going to lump 2 days into one video here, and I really just didn't film much. And basically what happened is, so on this day I hiked up onto this high ridge. It was really beautiful up there, really cool views, and I think I got a few clips in, and then the storm started rolling in, and I don't know, I didn't really feel in the mood to film much in the morning. So by the time I was ready to kind of start filming stuff, the storms were already rolling in. And normally in Colorado, what I'm used to so far is that the storms will roll in at some point in the afternoon, like at least after 12, but usually after like 2 p.m. You know, it's usually in the afternoon. But on this day, the storm started rolling in at 10 a.m. And yeah, I was basically up on this really exposed ridge, really high up. I think going over 13,000 feet, or at least close to. I think it went over 13,000 feet at multiple points. So yeah, it was very high up and exposed, and not the place to be during a storm. And yeah, honestly, it was actually genuinely terrifying, and yeah, one of the worst moments, or the worst like few hours on this trip so far. It made me really, really grateful for all of the times that I've seen storms coming in and had made the wise decision to stop and set up camp or wait out a storm, because getting caught in this storm was like genuinely scary and definitely dangerous, and I was not happy with it, and I definitely am not going to let this happen again. But like I said, basically it was a pretty unexpected thing. Like I thought I would get past this exposed area before storms would roll in, but it was like 10 a.m. But basically it was a very unexpected situation. You know, I thought I would get up and over and past this exposed area before the storms got serious, but it was like 10 a.m. and the storms are rolling in, and by 11 a.m. I was just completely surrounded. You know, just like visibility had dropped to almost nothing. I'm just in the clouds, I'm soaking wet, it's freezing cold, it starts borderline snowing, mostly hailing, and the rain is just cold, the wind is cold, and the thunder and the lightning was just insane. I mean, there was lightning like just right in front of me, all around me. It was genuinely terrifying. I started running down the trail, like literally I was like full on running in the rain and hail and this wind. It was just like so crazy intense. And oh man, the lightning, it was just actually just so terrifying with the lightning. Like it felt very serious. And I was actually genuinely very concerned for my safety. So after running down the trail for a while, I eventually reached this point where there was a dirt road, and the dirt road went down to the tree line. So I just completely went off trail, ran down this dirt road to drop some elevation. And I went down there, and I was freezing cold at this point as well, so I didn't really want to stop. I felt like if I stopped, I would have to like basically set up camp. So I kind of ran down the road and kind of waited a bit, and it started to look like it was clearing up, and then I ran back up the road. I ran just to stay warm, essentially. Back up the dirt road and rejoined the trail, and luckily it cleared up for like a couple hours, and so I made it through until the next part where I dropped down into a valley. And then after I dropped down into a valley, I met these two hikers, and this was the first time seeing CDT hikers in actually quite a long time. I haven't seen many CDT hikers in a while. This German couple, and they were really friendly. They had basically just set up camp. They said the storms were just too crazy that day. So they had camp set up, and they were just hanging out, staying out of the bad weather. But yeah, basically I talked to them for a little bit, and then I decided it was only another 5 miles to reach a highway where I could hitchhike into a town called Winter Park, but I would have to go up high again onto some ridge for a bit and then drop down the other side. And it looked like the weather was just about okay. It didn't look like any thunderstorms anymore, but I went up onto the ridge, and it did rain, and I was in the clouds with like no visibility, but there was no thunder, no lightning, so it was fine. And yeah, made it over that part and down to the road. And by the time I reached the road, I think it's Highway 40 at Berthoud Pass or something. I basically tried to hitchhike into Winter Park. It was quite late at this point. It was like 7:30. So I was like, man, it's gonna get dark kind of soon, and it was really raining and windy. So yeah, you can imagine me just standing by the side of the road, just soaking wet, miserable in the rain. Like I was pretty cold and just every time a car went by and didn't pick me up, I would feel personally offended pretty much, just because I really wanted to get to town. Luckily, I didn't have to wait long. It was probably only 15 minutes, and a friendly local picked me up and took me into town. So yeah. But yeah, at this point, I'm gonna put, because I did actually take some photos, even though I didn't film much. I did take some pictures during the stretch. I only really took pictures when it wasn't raining, but I'm gonna put in a load of pictures right now, just so you can see kind of what it was like. All right, so now you got an idea of what the hiking was like, what the scenery was like. It was actually really beautiful, and it was kind of like cool and dramatic with all the clouds and the thunderstorms, even if it was scary. Um, I definitely want to say that, like, yeah, I'm very grateful for every time that I've made the decision not to hike when I see thunderstorms coming in, and now having been in that thunderstorm, I take it very, very seriously. You know, if you see thunderstorms, just don't go above the tree line. Like it is very serious, and it should be taken seriously. It was really scary. I'm not gonna mess around with that again. But yeah, so basically, I made it into Winter Park. There's a place to stay called the Viking Lodge, and they're very friendly to CDT hikers. They give us a discount, and it's like a pretty significant discount. So that was great. And just stayed there. I got some Indian food. Haven't had Indian food in a long time, so I had some butter chicken, some garlic naan bread. It was actually really nice to have some Indian food. Normally I'm just having like burgers or pizza, that kind of thing, so that was nice. And then on to the next day. So the next day pretty much nothing happened, so I don't really have much to fill you in on. But I basically ended up taking a zero. I hung out at the Viking Lodge for a while. The weather looked rough. It looked pretty similar to the day before. And I knew that basically as soon as I get back to the trail, I immediately summit 13er, like a mountain above 13,000 feet. And then I do like an epic alternate. Basically, the main route goes over this 13er, then drops to the valley, and then summits another 13er. But there's an alternate you can take where you stay on the Continental Divide, like on like a ridge line, and you basically kind of do like a scramble knife edge ridge. So I've been really looking forward to that. And so I haven't actually reached that yet. Basically, I knew that I'd be doing that shortly after leaving town. And looking at the weather, it looked similar to the day before. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to bail on that decision to do that really cool ridge walk or scramble if I leave now. So it just wasn't worth it, basically. So I decided I would spend most of the day in town, eat lots of food, and edit some videos, upload some videos to YouTube, and just kind of rest a bit. So it wasn't until around like 6 p.m. that I decided to hitchhike out of town, and basically hitchhiked out. I actually got 3 different rides. First person picked me up, and took me, I don't know, not very far. Same with the second person. Basically people that were driving within town, or like from one end of town to the other end of town. And they weren't going all the way up here. So the first two cars, I ended up getting closer and closer to the edge of town. And then the third person that picked me up was really friendly, and she took me all the way up to the pass. She was cool. She said that she hitchhikes a lot, so she always picks up hitchhikers when she sees them. And yeah, anyway, now I'm actually back at the trail. There's a warming hut here, so my plan is just to stay at this warming hut overnight and then get up early tomorrow morning. And the weather's pretty much always good early in the morning, so I figured get up early, summit this 13er is called Mount Flora, and then do the ridge scramble, knife edge ridge type thing towards James Peak. And James Peak will be the final point on this trail where I'll be above 13,000 feet. So I'm really excited for tomorrow. And yeah, that's pretty much it for these 2 days. I'm sorry there's basically barely any footage for these 2 days, so a lot of it is just me talking. But I hope you enjoyed some of those photos. I didn't take any photos or footage when I was in Winter Park, but it's basically just like a small little ski town type thing. But yeah, anyway, figured I'd fill you in on the details. Hope you enjoyed some of those pictures. And I can't stress enough, I know I said it multiple times, but it was very scary being in that thunderstorm. You should definitely take thunderstorms very seriously. So anyway, that's the update for these 2 days. And tomorrow is going to be a really cool day. It's going to be awesome up in the mountains and on the ridge lines, hopefully with clear skies in the morning. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow.